Hey everyone, my name is Alan Maurice and I am here to talk Dodgers with you. This is my first video about the Dodgers on my channel and I'm really excited. I'm a little bit nervous, but really I got into this because the trade deadline is on Tuesday, August 1st, and this is my favorite part of the season. This is always the part where all the excitement happens. There are people leaving off the team, coming into the team, and this is my favorite part, and I wanted to share that with all of you. I have a few points to get into today, including a big trade that happened. It's going to affect the Dodgers going forward into their postseason push, and I can't wait to get started with you. First, this is hopefully the first of many Dodger videos that I can make throughout the seasons, and so if you'd like to support my channel, please drop a like for this video, for future videos as well. Leave a comment with any ideas or questions or suggestions for things that I should cover next regarding the Dodgers. And also subscribe to my channel if you want to see future videos. Click that notifications button as well to stay tuned for future videos. First, I'd like to get into a trade that happened today. It was with the Chicago White Sox and the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers receive right-handed pitcher Lance Lynn, a starting pitcher, as well as right-handed reliever Joe Kelly, who is an old friend of the Dodgers. They gave up Trayce Thompson, outfielder, and then two prospects, Nick Nastrini and Jordan Leisure. I hope I'm saying that right. Trayce Thompson came to the Dodgers, returned to the Dodgers last season, did very well, kind of the surprise player of the season for them, but he sustained an oblique injury in June against the Yankees during a practice swing. He's been out since. Overall, this season he's batting .155, only hit 5 home runs, 14 RBIs, so needless to say, a bit of a disappointment, or a lot of a disappointment when compared to his success and his performance last season. And so for me, personally, I was okay with letting him go, especially because I feel like Joe Kelly and Lance Lynn will be able to impact the Dodgers more than he would have moving forward. But now let's dive into Lance Lynn and Joe Kelly. Lance Lynn is a veteran. He debuted back in 2011 with the St. Louis Cardinals. He has been a National League and an American League All-Star, including the most recent, back in 2021 with the White Sox. He's gotten Cy Young Award consideration throughout his career, but this year he is struggling a little bit more. If we look at his numbers, he's 6-9 in the win-loss column. He has a 6.47 ERA, which is up there, but one very encouraging point is the 144 strikeouts that he's had throughout this season. Season's not even over yet. 200 is usually a pretty good marker, and so when we see 144 with a couple more months to go in the season, it's a very good sign. It's very encouraging. He has struggled with the home run ball, with the long ball. In 21 games, he's allowed 28 home runs, so that is concerning. However, I am confident that the Dodgers can turn him around with Mark Prior and his pitching coach staff. I'm sure that they can turn him around, tweak a few mechanical things, possibly in his delivery. Who knows? I'm sure they do. They saw something and they wanted to pursue Lance Lynn. They got their starter. Also included in the package, as mentioned, was Joe Kelly. Joe Kelly is an old friend of the Dodgers. He played with them in 2019, 2020, 2021. So that also includes the Dodgers World Series championship year, which was in 2020. He came over from Boston after the 2018 World Series. So he has 2 World Series in his belt. He's an established veteran reliever. You can count on him in the postseason. If you look at his numbers, he has a 4.97 ERA. He does have more losses than wins this season, 1-5. 1 win, 5 losses. He's got 41 strikeouts. Overall, I mean, his numbers aren't super encouraging, but Joe Kelly is an old friend. He's become acquainted with the pitching coaches on the Dodgers, and I'm sure that they can work with him to bring him back to his past glory with the Dodgers when he played his best seasons, really. And so I'm super excited. He brings that fire, he brings that passion, and that's exactly what the Dodgers need. That's what they've needed in the past few seasons. You've been feeling, if you've been watching the Dodgers, you've been feeling that passion in the past few months, and I think that the additions of Joe Kelly and Lance Lynn, 2 very passionate pitchers, will only add to that. Now, moving on, I wanted to quickly cover a couple of trades that were made earlier this week. You have Kike Hernandez, who was acquired on Tuesday. He has not played well this year. We all know him and love him because he was a Dodger. His last season with the Dodgers was back in 2020, their World Series championship year. Since then, He played very well in 2021 with the Boston Red Sox, and his performance has dipped since then. This year he's batting .226 as far as average goes. He's hit 6 home runs, 31 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, and has an OPS of .603 overall. Definitely not a career year for him. Defensively, he's been having to fill in for Trevor Story at shortstop with Story's injury, and he hasn't performed well there at shortstop either. So you may wonder, what's the upside to Kike Hernandez? What role will he play on the Dodgers? Well, so far this season, the Dodgers haven't batted well against left-handed starting pitching. And so going into the deadline, the top 2 priorities were 1, starting pitching, 2, a right-handed bat. And one of the ones that they've gotten so far this trade deadline has been Kike Hernandez. He debuted for a second time with the Dodgers back on Wednesday, and he recorded 2 hits. So that is encouraging. He's back in the lineup today against the Reds at Dodger Stadium, and really that's going to be his role. Back on Wednesday, they faced Yusei Kikuchi on the Toronto Blue Jays. He's a left-handed pitcher. Today, they're facing Williamson from the Reds. He's also a left-handed pitcher. That's going to be Kike's role. He's going to be there against right-handed pitchers. His splits are better against right-handed pitchers, especially this season. And so that's where he's going to be when he's in the lineup against right-handed pitching. As far as defensively, where is he going to play? Well, he could play shortstop like he did with the Red Sox. He could play second base, or he could also play in the outfield. I'm assuming it's going to be right field primarily, like he is in the lineup tonight. He's in center field. And that's because their everyday outfielders are Jason Hayward, David Peralta, and James Outman. 3 left-handed batters. James Outman does have better contact against lefties than Hayward and Peralta do, which is why sometimes they'll have Outman playing against a left-handed pitcher. But typically, you don't want to rely on Hayward and Peralta against left-handed pitching, especially later on in the postseason in October. And so that's what Kike Hernandez is here to do. Bat against left-handed pitching and replace Peralta and Hayward in the outfield on the defensive side. Kike Hernandez is also an old friend of the Dodgers, as mentioned. I love his energy. There's already a video circulating around the internet of his first day back in the dugout. He's dancing. Everybody's clapping for him. I can't wait to see him more, to feel the energy that he brings to every single game. If you think back, he did win the World Series with the Dodgers back in 2020. He also hit the game-tying home run in Game 7 of the NLCS in 2020 against the Braves. So big clutch moment. If you go back even further, 2017 National League Championship Series against the Chicago Cubs, he had his 3-homer game. So he's an established veteran, especially in the postseason. He wants to be the guy in the big moment. He wants to be the guy that comes through in the clutch. If you think back to 2021 postseason when he was with the Boston Red Sox, he was the hottest hitter on the planet. Nothing could stop him. And so I think if the Dodgers can find that and capture that version of Kike, even if it is just for a month or 2 weeks, if they could time it right, especially in October, they could really have something special in this player. I'd like to move on next to the Dodgers' newly acquired shortstop in Ahmed Rosario. The Dodgers acquired him on Wednesday from the Cleveland Guardians. And in return, the Guardians received Noah Syndergaard. I am very okay with this trade. I absolutely love this trade. I was very excited for Noah Syndergaard at the beginning of the season, thinking that he could meet the Dodgers' needs in the starting pitching area. He did not. He kind of busted, and they've had him on the injured list because of blister situations, also trying to get him back on track. He has been on his rehab appearances with the minor league teams, making his way back. I'm honestly okay to see him go, especially now that we're going to see Lance Lynn, possibly another starting pitcher, come in at the trade deadline. And so I want to see what new life the Dodgers can find in other pitchers. But the Dodgers now have Ahmed Rosario. Overall in the season, he's batting .265, 3 home runs, 40 RBIs, 9 stolen bases, which is surprising because he is graded out as one of the fastest players in the league, and an OPS of .675. His situation might be similar to Kike's, where he will be primarily a batter against left-handed pitching. If you look at his splits, average versus lefties is .303, and his average versus righties is .250. And so he has that better advantage against left-handed pitchers. You see it in the OPS as well. OPS of 822 against lefties, OPS of 617 against righties. So there is that clear difference and distinction. However, 265 is not a bad average overall. Rosario was a pivotal piece in that Guardians lineup. He may have felt like he needed to step up too much and maybe provide a power bat that possibly isn't there, and that may have led to a lower average. I remember just a few seasons ago, he was leading the league in triples, or maybe even leading the MLB in triples. So we know that production is there. I think if the Dodgers can give him, I think today in the lineup he's hitting 5th or 6th against the Reds today as of July 28. And so if you can just have him not in the middle of the lineup, but maybe just a little lower, where he's a little bit more cushioned by JD Martinez, by Kike Hernandez, by Miguel Rojas, people behind him and in front of him that you can rely on to get on base, maybe he can feel some of that pressure taken off of him to constantly perform at a very high level every day. Hopefully he feels that way, and we can see his performance go back up as his confidence increases. He is graded out this year as one of the worst shortstops in MLB, which makes us wonder, where will Rojas play, because he has been one of the best shortstops in the league. Rojas today against the Reds is going to be playing second base, and Mookie Betts in right field. Sometimes we've seen Mookie play second, but now that we have more right-handed batters thanks to the trade deadline, we will see Rosario at shortstop today, Rojas at second. So we're going to see. I'm excited to see today's game, see how the combination of Rosario, Rojas, and then Hernandez in the outfield will, how they'll produce, how they'll play. And so I'm really excited for those trades. But now looking ahead, we have, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So 4 days left, not including the rest of today, Friday, until the trade deadline. So looking ahead, one of the biggest names in Dodgers talk has been Nolan Arenado. Superstar third baseman for the St. Louis Cardinals. The Dodgers have wanted him for a long time. I've wanted him for a long time. And I'm not going to read it word for word, but MLB did put out a report yesterday, and they were referencing Jorge Castillo, his Los Angeles Times article, mentioning that the Dodgers have talked with the St. Louis Cardinals about acquiring Nolan Arenado. And so, does that mean that it's going to happen? No. Does that mean that there is no chance? It doesn't mean that either. It's somewhere in that gray area. We really don't know until we find out more. Could the Cardinals package Arenado with a starting pitcher that the Dodgers might need, such as Jack Flaherty or Jordan Montgomery? That would be great, until I read a little bit later on in the report where it mentions that the Dodgers would be interested, or the Cardinals would be interested in receiving major league talent in return. Could include Max Muncy, possibly Chris Taylor. As far as pitching goes, they have shown interest in Bobby Miller, Gavin Stone, Ryan Pepio, Emmett Sheehan. Those are all names that they have mentioned and eyed as a potential piece in the deal. Would I do this if I was the Dodgers? I'm not sure. Nolan Arenado is one of the best third basemen of all time, in my opinion. And he brings a powerful bat. Defense hasn't been as good this year, but I think it would be an upgrade when compared to Max Muncy. He's a fiery player. He has that passion. And if you could package him along with a starting pitcher, it's exactly what the Dodgers would need. Got a strong lineup, strong rotation. That would be great. But what would you be losing? I definitely would not trade Bobby Miller. Bobby Miller is definitely in the postseason rotation, especially if he keeps up the performance that he's been having the past few months. His performance has dipped a little bit since his strong debut month, but I think he has that spark. I think he definitely has talents and skills, tools that will play up in the postseason. Gavin Stone has been sent down. He's been doing better in his last few starts in AAA. Ryan Pepio is still on the mend on the injured list. I think that was an oblique injury, if I'm not mistaken. And Emmett Sheehan has been doing decent. He's been doing okay. So I would do this trade depending on which pitchers you would be giving up. If it came down to Max Muncy or Chris Taylor, obviously I wouldn't want to trade either one of them. If I had to, I would choose Max Muncy just because Taylor is a bit more versatile. And Muncy, he's a third baseman. Arenado's a third baseman. I would choose Arenado over Muncy, but I wouldn't want to lose either Muncy or Taylor. This is going to be a very difficult trade possibility for the Dodgers front office to work through. Jordan Hicks is a Cardinals closer. He's a relief pitcher. It would be cool if he was included in the trade package, but who knows? It's just an idea. Another starting pitcher, Marcus Stroman from the Chicago Cubs, Michael Lorenzen from the Detroit Tigers. They're also possible trade targets for the Dodgers. If you look at Stroman, he hasn't been as dominant in his past few starts, and it doesn't seem like the Cubs are going to extend him, which means that he would be heading into, I believe, a free agent or a contract year at the end of the season. A lot of, if he and Cody Bellinger get traded, is how well the Cubs perform. A lot of it depends on that. And so if we look at their standings, the Cubs are 5.5 games out of first place in their division. So they're trailing the Milwaukee Brewers as of right now. And they're 4 games out of the last wild card spot in the National League. So the Cubs could make a push. They could stay back. They could trade away Stroman and Bellinger and just try again for next year. It's going to be really interesting to see how things play out. I think I might prefer someone like Jordan Montgomery or Jack Flaherty over Marcus Stroman, just because Marcus Stroman hasn't had that track record of being a dominant pitcher for very long. So it's going to be really interesting. I can't wait to cover this more with you guys in the coming days. I'd like to have another video come out before the trade deadline hits. And so just to cover more of what trades are happening, trader rumors, trade ideas. But you know what? This is going to wrap up the video. Thank you everybody for watching. Please leave your comments down below of who do you think the Dodgers should go out and sign or trade for. What are your thoughts on the trades they've already made? And please feel free to subscribe, hit the notifications bell, and to leave a like on this video to support my new channel that's on the rise. So thank you so much. Again, my name is Alan Maurice, big Dodgers fan. I'll see you next time.